Hello and welcome to the second video that I am presenting on getting used to your Math 107 class. This video is a walkthrough of your Leo classroom. Now, you may be quite adept at using Leo classrooms for other online courses, but in this one, we will use some features of the Leo classroom and not use others. So even if you're already adept, it's worthwhile to work through this particular video. Again, my name is Tom Ewing. And as this is the second video that I've made for this course, the first one is called Hello and Welcome. If you haven't seen the first one, Hello and Welcome, yet, then you should stop now, go and view that one, and then come back here. So to get started, to access your Leo classroom, you have to bring up Leo. There are various ways to bring up the Leo website. If you already have a way that you're used to using and it's quite good for you, then just keep using it. The very simple one in one step is to type learn.umuc.edu into your web browser's URL box and just click enter and it will go directly there in one step. Sometimes if you go in through MyUMUC, there are several pages and steps. Notice that there is no www in front of this. It will not work if you put it there because this is not a public website. So when you bring up your browser, then what you do is type in what I've just indicated to type in, learn.umuc.edu into your website. Then you click on enter and up will come your account entry page. Now you must have a username and a password to use Leo. If you're a Maryland student, you do have a username and a password. You just don't know it yet. So by all means, if you don't know it yet, go down to your UMUC field office and find out what yours is. So I will enter my account information now. And up will come the Leo website homepage. And where you want to start is to select a course. And when you click on select a course, be kind now. Well, I'm just going to have to use the mouse because for some reason this is still in effect. So let's close this down and see if that doesn't help matters. Yes, so now we have a list of all of the Leo classes that you might be registered for. Somewhere in that list will be a Math 107, so you just click on that and it will bring up the Math 107. This is your home page. The first part of the home page that I want to dwell on is called the news section. This is where I post my announcement about what is new in the course. I will be posting announcements on almost a daily basis. This is a very dynamic and fast-moving course, and it is required that you read this news section every day. If you do not read it every day, then if you do not read it every 2 days, then your final grade point will be reduced. I have allotted 2 points on your final grade to making sure that you read the news. You have those 2 points right now. If you go more than 2 days without reading the news, and Leo does tell me every time that you log on, then you're going to become a drag on the class because you're not going to know what's going on, and that's not a good thing for the class as a whole. So if you do go more than 2 days without reading your news, then I will deduct 0.5 points off of your final grade each time you go more than 2 days. What you want to do is to read the news items, and it's a scroll down to the bottom of it, and they're in reverse time order. So for the very first time, where you want to start is at the bottom. Now notice, if there are more news items than will fit on this simple page, and there almost always will be, then you have to go to Show All News Items. And when you click on Show All News Items, then it will take you to a page that has no ending at all. It goes all the way down to the bottom, way back to the beginning of the course. So I'm going to return to Course Home right now. Course Home. And these are the news items in reverse time order that I've posted out here. First, there is a welcome aboard message, glad that you're here. Then is a list of the universities that I went to myself. Yes, I was a student once myself, and that brings me to a very important point, and that is that you and I are natural enemies, because my goal in here is that you are to learn as much math as you can. My objective in teaching is that you learn. Learning is what satisfies me. The more learning that I see take place, the more accomplished I feel that the course was. However, your goal is to get the highest possible grade, irrespective of however much you do learn. My goal is that you learn as much as you can, irrespective of the grade that you get. Therefore, since we are natural enemies, it turns out not to be a problem as long as we respect each other's viewpoint. And as a previous student myself, I know very much how important your GPA is to you, and I do respect your viewpoint. So please respect mine also, that what I am very most interested in above all is that learning takes place in this course. The next item is this hello and welcome video from your instructor. I have emailed this link to you, each one individually, so you should have already seen it. If you haven't seen it yet, then you can see it here. The next news item is that we will use an adaptive learning program called My Math Lab quite heavily in this course. Therefore, you must sign into My Math Lab, and you have an access code that came bundled with your textbook. If you bought your textbook used and did not get an access code, then you have to buy an access code at some location that's described in here that you can buy it, because you must have access to My Math Lab to continue in this course. So once you do have your access course, you use my instructor ID, which is here on this page, and then you create an account for yourself. And when you bring up your account, then you go to this course that course Math 107, which I have indicated for you. And there you will find all of the weekly assignments that we're going to do, and we also will do our first 3 weekly quizzes in My Math Lab. So we'll use this quite heavily. Now, sometimes Leo itself gives you schedules about there's going to be downtime for maintenance, so you have to come here to keep up with what the maintenance team is doing to keeping Leo up and down. The next thing to warn you is what not to use. At least early in the course, we will not use the assignments click at all, so you can only get confused and into trouble if you go there. Perhaps later in the course I will make some use of it, but certainly not for the first half of the course. Do not go into discussions. In some of your other courses, you do go into discussions, but there are no discussions in this class. All of your Leo participation takes place in a slightly different way. And if you do go to discussions, you will see some things that could do nothing but confuse you. So indeed, do not go there. All of our usage will take place in the navigation bar click called Content. This is the one that we will use. So click on Content, and up comes a table of contents. Now, before I show it to you, what I want to do is go back to Course Home. And at the bottom of Course Home, I can do something that you can't do, and that is I can change the viewpoint of this website from myself as an instructor to you as a learner. As an instructor, I have many sort of modules out there that are for future use, halfway completed, or for past use, and those are for my use in developing the course, and they're not necessarily of interest to you and can only be confused. So now I will change the viewpoint that we're getting to be the very same viewpoint that you will have as a student. So now when we go into content, what we will see is the very content that you will also see. And the start here, we can ignore that. I haven't set it up so that there's anything in there that you need to do. And the bookmarks and upcoming events are for your own usage. The table of contents is simply a list of everything that comes next, and it's already out here. The first thing to draw your attention to is a student cafe, which is a location that I have set up where you can talk to each other. If you're stuck in a particular problem and you'd like one of your classmates to help you, then you can post the problem here, and some of your classmates will also reply and try to help you. Or if you just want to say some witty and amusing things about the course, you can say them here. Or if you want to get to know your classmates better, you can also do it here. But the important thing is that the way you use Student Cafe is the way that you use all of these items in content, and that is by starting a thread. So if you click on Student Cafe, then you will be led to a page that says to start a new thread. And when you start a new thread, then you type in whatever it is that you want to be posted, and then you click on post, and it will go out there. So I'm just going to put out something like XXX. And then I'm going to post it out there. And once it's posted out there, then you can see that enter a subject. I don't mind entering a subject. XXX will also do for a subject. And so it's posted out there. And now once it's posted out there, then it's visible to all of your classmates. And then what they do is to reply to the thread by clicking on reply to thread. So let's go back to this thread here. Reply 0. So let's see, that's not going to do it. So let's go back to Student Cafe. And now in Student Cafe, we're going to go to here. And now we see the posts. And this is the post here. And Okay, I'm going to postpone that. I haven't ever looked at this from a student's viewpoint before as to just how you get this reply out there. So we'll come back to that a little bit later. So let's go back to the table of contents. And the next item to draw your attention to is the syllabus. And the syllabus contains everything about where your grade is going to come from. It contains some guidelines from the course. It contains academic policies. And it contains our weekly schedule for an entire 8 weeks. So it's quite important that you read the syllabus. Next comes a description of the 2 projects that you will do in here. They'll come a few weeks from now, so you can read that a bit later. The one that you will use most often than any other is called the course content. So under the course content, we have an entry for each week of the course. The weeks that I have out there so far are week 0, which is a week before the course actually begins. And there are some things that you should do during week 0. And these are the things that you should do. You should acquire all of your course materials, which means that you should acquire a textbook, and you should get into My Math Lab, which is the second item, to enroll in the My Math Lab classroom. Introduce yourself and meet your classmates in the introductions discussion. So here is the introductions discussion. And when you go to introductions, then you start a new thread, and when you start a new thread, you introduce yourself. The next thing that you do is post any questions that you have in the question section, which is called Have a Question, and then you post your question there by starting a thread. This completes the tasks that you want to do in week 0. Our week 1 will start on Sunday. All of our weeks in here will start on Sunday, and they will conclude the next Sunday. So this first week, 1, of course it starts on a Monday because Maryland isn't starting this particular session until the Monday, but typically they will start on a Sunday. So this week 1 will comprise some things that I need for you to do. These are things that you will need to do every week. These are the activities. First, there will be some reading in the textbook that you need to do. By all means, read the textbook. It is an excellent textbook, and if you bypass this step, you're going to have a lot of trouble in the course. So each week, read the assigned sections in the textbook, and besides reading the entire assigned sections, work out the examples that the authors give you. Work them out by first covering up the author's solution to the example, working through the example yourself, and then lifting your paper off of the page and look at the author's solution and see if he also got it right. Then we want you to go into course resources and read the course modules that are coming from UMUC to you about this course. And this is what you might call a second textbook. So under course modules, under course resources, we have the UMUC course modules, and these are the ones that have to do with the material that we're learning in this course in the course modules. So the first one is a review of intermediate mathematics, and that's the one that we're doing this first week. It's our review week. That's why the chapter is called R, for review. Then the next week, then we get into another topic. So you see, these modules are here for your use, and before you even begin, then you can do a bit of an overview about how to get into the course if you want. You will need a scientific calculator in this course. You do not have to have the $200 calculator. A simple $10 calculator will do fine. If you happen to like graphing calculators, then you can use one, but it's not necessary that you actually have a graphing calculator in the slightest. Remember, the more money that you pay for your calculator, the longer it's going to take you to use it. Sometimes, if you buy a really expensive calculator thinking it will do the course for you, then it takes you your entire 8 weeks to learn how to simply use the calculator. The $10 calculators are adequate for the course, and you can learn to use them in a very short time. So let's go back to course content, week 1. And here on week 1, we have first gone through the activities that you need to do, read your part in the textbook, and then to read the course modules. The next thing that we want you to do is what's called your Leo participation. This is an online course, and you have to participate in the website part of it every single week. And the way that you will do your Leo participation each week in this course is as follows. I'm going to go down to the main topic of week 1 Leo participation. Your menu each week will have these same 3 items to it. First will be the head menu item, which describes the week 1 activity. It's a module. Then the first sub-module is your week 1 Leo participation, and the second sub-module is your week 1 suggested textbook problems. So if we go to the week 1 Leo participation, then the first thing that I ask you to do is these 3 tasks prior to starting your My Math Lab homework assignment. You're to read these at the same time that you read your textbook and work your suggested problems. This is the learning part of your week. The first thing that you do is view the YouTube videos that I have selected for you to view for that week on that week's topic. There will be anywhere from 5 to 15 of these each week that I have chosen as being very good videos on the topics that we are covering for that week. Some of them are by myself, but the majority of them will be by other instructors that have put these short videos out there. Generally, they range in time from 3 minutes to 10 minutes for each particular video. It's much easier to learn math from a person than it is from a book. So these videos take the place of having a lecturer. They are what personalize your online course for you, and it makes reading that much easier. After you have viewed all of these required videos, then what you do is tell me that you've done so. And by telling me, the way that you tell me that you've done so, each week is you start a new thread, and in the thread you say, I have viewed these videos, and you post it. Each week I will check that you have viewed these videos. The second Leo participation task that you have to do each week is to select your own YouTube video. You select your own YouTube video by going out to YouTube is an F-16 base. And they take off 4 at a time, and the only thing that we can do is cede the sound space to them when they do decide to take off. So when you go out to this topic, select your own YouTube video, what you will have done is go into YouTube, and in their search box, you will type one of the topics that we're covering this week. And then it will give you a list of several dozen or several hundred little video clips on that particular topic. You select one that will be instructive to your classmates. You're doing this as a service for your classmates, and you want to select a video that will be instructive to them on one of these topics. Then you take the link from that video, which all you simply do is highlight and cut it or copy it from the URL spot in the YouTube screen, and then you post it into this text section of your reply of your thread, and then it will become a link that your classmates can click on. What I also want you to do is to type in 2 or 3 sentences describing the material that is in that particular video that you selected, not just give the bare link, but describe the material that's out there so your classmates can know if it's something that they're looking for help on or not. Then you post this thread that you've created, and after you post it, then it will be visible for your classmates to look at if they want to. Now, the third thing that you have to do every week is to look at this list of selected videos that your classmates have put out there, and to select one of them for your critique. And you must look at least one of them that your classmates have selected each week, and then you must critique it. And when you critique it, you do not creak it. This is, by the way, what you do not do. When you select it, in order to select it, you have to go to select your own YouTube video, and here you will see all of the posts that your classmates have made about the videos that they selected. It's very tempted for you to critique it by simply clicking on reply to their posted thread. This will get lost. It will not be found by myself, and you cannot get credit for you. So you have to post your critique in the correct place. And the correct place is click on critique a classmate selected video. And what you do in start a new thread, you type in the name of the classmate that you have selected, and then you give your critique of his video and you post it. So each week you must do these 3 tasks. Review all of the videos that I have selected for you to view. You must select your own YouTube video, and you must critique a classmate's video each week. Each week you will get 2 points on your final grade from doing this. So for a total of 14 points on your final grade for doing this activity each week, which is relatively painless. That's as much credit as you get for 3 quizzes, and almost as much, and 3/4 as much credit as you get for your final exam, all in a relatively painless way. Again, this is done to enhance learning. So if we go back to our weekly activities now, then you've done your Leo participation, and the last thing that you have to do is to work my suggested textbook problems. And here again in our main menu is a submodule, week 1 suggested textbook problems. And here they are. Each week I will select some problems from your textbook and suggest that you do them. I strongly suggest that you do them, because people that do not do these suggested problems before they attempt the assigned My Math Lab assignment get into deep trouble, because they cannot do the problems, because they have not learned them by following through these suggested problems. So do these suggested textbook problems on scratch paper yourself before you attempt the My Math Lab homework assignment, and you will do that assignment in much less time and with much better learning. If you try to skip this step, then you will pay the clock by spending much more time on your My Math Lab than you would have if you had done these suggested problems earlier. They pay their own way. By all means, do them first. You will end up saving a lot of time. So that concludes the tasks that you have to do each week by giving you an example by going through what's out there for week 1. Now, this list of required videos and perhaps these suggested problems by myself will not be finalized until Sunday. Everything is finalized on Sunday, which marks the beginning of the week. So if you jump out to an early start, then do come back on Sunday and see anything that's been added in the meantime. Now let's go to course resources, what's available for you. First, these are detailed instructions on how you are to sign into your MyMathLab account. They're in one more place, as well as having been in the news themselves. What is also out there for you are the course modules, and there will be some that you'll be assigned to look at each week. The other thing that's out there for you is what's called the e-readings, and your textbook has some 5 chapters that we will use, chapter 0 or R, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And the rest of the book is devoted to trigonometry and pre-calculus, so we will not go past chapter 5 in this course. And in case you don't have your book quite yet, you do have to get it because we'll use it intensively. You do have these PDF files that the publisher has graciously given you on chapter R and chapter 1. So you can use these temporary e-files for the first week or 2 of the course. So again, our first quiz is going to be after 1 week in the course. We will take a quiz on that week's work. We will have 7 quizzes in here, each one at the end of a week. Okay. So this concludes the major items that I did want to go over. And what I'm going to close with is by looking at the syllabus in a bit more detail. We just try it again. Magic. Okay, my name, my email address. Please email me at this address if you have questions throughout the course. Once again, I do not encourage you missing material and wanting to make it up later. This gets into immense trouble both for you and myself, so we do want to avoid that at all costs. We want you to keep up with the course. As I mentioned in the previous video, this course will require 20 hours a week of your time, and if you don't have that amount of free time, then that's going to be the immediate cause of you falling behind in the course. Course outcome, course materials, and everything else is quite applicable, easy to find. The grading information is what you're very much interested in. So what we're going to do is to go through this in a little bit more detail. First, your homeworks for the first 7 weeks, which will all be done in MyMathLab, acquire 10% of your grade. The Leo participation, which you will do each week, the 3 tasks each week of viewing the required videos and selecting your own video and critiquing a classmate's video, will count 2 points each week for the first 7 weeks. We won't do this the last week for 14 points. At the end of the first 7 weeks, we'll take a quiz. The first 3 will be in MyMathLab, and the last 4 will be by hand, and they will constitute 35% of your grade. There will be 2 projects in this course in which you will do some graphical modeling. First, a linear or straight line model, then a non-linear or parabolic model. Each one will be 9% of your grade. Then will become 3 points, which will be on professionalism. In other words, how you conduct yourself during the course and reading the news. Don't worry about getting these 3 points. I've just given them to you right now. The only thing you can do is lose them. If you do engage in some kind of unprofessional behavior, usually by inappropriate emails, or if you fail to read the news at least every other day, then we will start slicing into this 3%. Your final examination, which will come on the last Friday in the 8th week of the course, and is not written by myself, but it is a standard final examination that all of the Math 107 courses for UMUC in the entire world are taking together, will come in that 8th week, and it will comprise 20% of your grade. So the rest of the syllabus is fairly predictable, and these are the things that you have to do every week. You have to do the reading the textbook, you have to do the suggested problems, you do the My Math Lab homework, you do the Leo participation, you do your 2 projects, you take your 7 quizzes, and you do the final examination, and you're out of there. This is an intensive course. Do not underestimate it or try to take it into too lightly, then you will be bogged down in a short time. Finally, near the end, here are the 2 project descriptions. We'll start these about week 3, but you can get a leg up on them by reading about them a little bit if you want to. Classroom civility, you say nice things to each other in your emails. And the assignment schedule. This is set out by week. Your week 0, you're supposed to read the syllabus and acquire your course materials. In your week 1, we cover the section R, which is the review section, the review chapter. Then we take chapters 1 through 5, and we're done. So thank you very much.